How's this lighting? I hope it's good. Okay, I don't even know where to start. Oh, the spring break I never thought I was going to have. I guess that's where you start. Hey everybody, what's up? Welcome back to my channel. Hi, if you're new here, I'm Gracie. I'm a graduating senior at the University of Alabama, and last week was my spring break week, and it was interesting to say the least. So many of you guys have asked for a story time, and I felt like it was just too long to put on TikTok or Instagram, so here we are sitting down talking about crazy spring break week that I had. Imagine, it's your senior year spring break, the spring break of your dreams. You and 18 other people have booked this awesome cruise, full drink package. You've already booked the catamaran excursion, all kinds of things. Been counting down since like October 20th, I think. Yeah, and it definitely did not go as planned. Let's talk about how my senior year spring break turned from the greatest spring break vacation I would ever have to being stuck on the cruise with 3 boys I had never met before and my ex-boyfriend. Doesn't that just sound so fun? If you guys are new here, make sure that you subscribe down below so you don't miss another video from me. We've got 6 more weeks today until I graduate, which is absolutely insane, and then comes all the travel stuff. I'm hoping to put a video together somewhat soon of maybe my post-graduation plans. I'm trying to start to figure it out now because as much as I want these 6 weeks to go by really fast, they can't because I'm not prepared and I have not planned. So therefore, I am starting to look into maybe what's gonna go on the first month after graduation. I'm super busy, so kind of what's gonna start in June and after that for the next little bit. So we'll start from the very beginning. Me and 2 of my best friends, Madeline and Claire, had decided that we were gonna book this spring break cruise. We were gonna try and convince as many friends as we were gonna go, and guy friends and everyone. We just wanted it to be this huge cruise celebration for senior year because sophomore year I was studying abroad. It got canceled, no real spring break there, and everyone who was here on campus got sent home for spring break, like a 2-week spring break, but because it was COVID, nothing really ever happened. Nobody got a spring break our sophomore year. And then last year, our junior year, COVID was still really running rampant, and they just gave us a Monday off. So you got kind of a spring break weekend, and me and some of my girlfriends took it up to Nashville, but it wasn't really like a spring break. So this year was obviously our last year to have a spring break, and we're like, we haven't gotten a spring break since our freshman year of college. We're gonna do it big, we're gonna do it right this year. And we decided that a Norwegian cruise would be the absolute perfect thing to do. Now we found this great deal. It was for 1 week. We had everything figured out with the full drink package, and then on top of it, you could add on flights to your reservation for a little bit of an upcharge for 2 of the guests, and the second guest flies free, so you kind of split that price into 2. I think it came out to like maybe $175 a person for those who did the flight deal, which is a great deal. I didn't take advantage of that. I flew home a couple days earlier, and my flight was close to $700, so $175 was really good to get from Birmingham down to Fort Lauderdale. Anyway, we've had this all booked. We're planning all these things. There ends up being a group chat of 19 people coming on this trip. So Madeline and Claire and I were in a room. Claire's boyfriend was coming. He was rooming with somebody who was my boyfriend, who's now my ex-boyfriend, and now it's complicated. And then they had their fraternity brothers coming, and some of them had their girlfriends and other girls, and it just turned into this huge group, and we were getting so excited. Now, I had known most of the people who were going, except for a couple of these boys who hopped on very last minute, like a month ago, didn't take advantage of the flight deal, but they're like, we're coming on the cruise. Needless to say, we had 19 people ready to go. I lived down in Palm Beach. It was out of Fort Lauderdale, so I had come home on the Tuesday before spring break so I could hang out with my parents and kind of get a break before spring break. I knew that 19 college students with an unlimited alcohol package would not necessarily result in the most relaxing vacation, so I wanted to have a little bit of my own beforehand, so I flew down early. All my friends and everyone else who was doing the flight deal, Norwegian booked their flights. Norwegian did book them day of flights, but honestly, we didn't really think much about it. I had mentioned it once that people could come down sooner if they wanted me to take them around Palm Beach and stay at my house for the night, but it never really went further than that first conversation, so we were just kind of like, okay, see y'all on Saturday. And the 3 boys who drove got to Gainesville the night before the cruise, and then woke up early in the morning and drove the rest of like the 5-ish hours down to the port of Miami in the morning, so they had made it. So imagine it's me and these 3 boys. We had all been in the state of Florida and close enough to make it to the port, and I wake up the morning of the cruise, Saturday, March 12th. I immediately text Madeline, I'm like, can't wait to see you. crew. She was at the Birmingham airport waiting to take off still, so all of those people were on one Delta flight, and there was ice. It was snowing that morning, March 12th. It had been like 80 degrees the entire week leading up to the cruise. I have no clue what happened. I don't even think it was really predicted in the weather for it to be icy, but they had been delayed because of the ice. But it was fine because I think they all had like 2, 3, 4 hour layovers. Some of them were on some different flights down to Fort Lauderdale. Needless to say, like, it was still going to be okay. They were just kind of freaking out that they had been probably an hour delayed on the plane. Like, okay, like, just let me know. That flight from Birmingham to Atlanta is just about like 29 minutes up in the air. So probably like an hour later, they were like, okay, we made it to Atlanta. Madeline and Claire were on a different flight than pretty much all the rest of the people. They were on a later flight. Earlier flight down to Fort Lauderdale had been delayed to come in a little bit after Madeline and Claire's, but still everyone was going to get in by like 12:30 in the afternoon. Easy. They were going to be picked up by Norwegian and make it down to the cruise. Let's just say every single flight was getting delayed. The Atlanta airport, from what I heard from them, was insane. They were all waiting. We had no clue what was going to happen. I was kind of staying around my house because at that time it was like 11-ish, 11:15, and I was like, okay, do I leave and go down to the port? Like, should I still be getting ready? I don't know what's going on. I was like, they'll make it. They're in Atlanta. There were no weather problems necessarily in Atlanta at that point, so we're like, okay, they're gonna make it. Get in the car. We're about 5 minutes into the drive down to the Miami port because it's about an hour and a half for me to get down there, and I had a certain check-in time. I think it was 1 to 1:30, so I was like, okay, we needed to get in the car. Got in the car at like 11:50. The flight that those other 13 people had been booked on got completely canceled. Not delayed, not anything else, completely canceled. Every other flight down to both Miami, Fort Lauderdale, and also I looked at Palm Beach for them, no room. Unless you wanted to pay. I think there was one down to Palm Beach and it was gonna get in at midnight and it was like $1,000. So that was really stressful. I'm like, okay, I have no clue. And Madeline and Claire's flight got delayed again, but they were still gonna make it. And I was like, honestly, I just need Madeline and Claire to make it. I had just upgraded our room that week. I was so excited. I was like, I don't care who comes. My girlfriends are coming. That's fine. I don't know what's gonna happen. Everyone else, maybe people can get on their flight. I'm not sure, but they're gonna make it. A little stressful for them to make it. At one point, we're like, ooh, are they really gonna make it on time? But I was confident. So then I had arrived to the Miami port. I was like, okay, well, I'm not gonna get on this cruise yet because I wanna make sure that my friends are down here before I get on. I knew I was early. I was like, I'll just sit outside in my cute romper and my backpack and my stuff. And I was like, I'm just gonna sit outside. And one of the Norwegian workers came up to me probably about 15 minutes of me sitting out there and he's like, are you okay? And I was like, yeah, actually, I'm just waiting for my friends. They're stuck in the Atlanta airport. Do you know if you guys are gonna hold the cruise? Because there are a ton of people in the airport other than my friends too. They had met some other people who just can't get down here for the cruise. So I was working with one of the guys there at the port to try and figure out like how we could get my friends down here or what kind of cruise that we could get on. 25 minutes after that or so, I got a call from Madeline that their flight had been delayed again and it wasn't even going to take off until 4 p.m. and the cruise leaves at 5:30. Like, they were no longer going to make it. There were no flights. One of the boys had gotten standby on that flight, but it didn't even matter anymore because no matter what, it wasn't going to work for them to get on that cruise. So I'm sitting there going, okay, so there's 3 boys who they had already gotten on the cruise that morning because they were all 3 in a room. They were like, we're just going to get on. And I was sitting there going, what do I do? What do I do? I'm calling my dad, I'm calling Norwegian, I'm calling all these people to try and figure out like what our plan is going to be. So I'm on the phone with a Norwegian cruise consultant and I was like, okay, here's a plan that my friends had come up with in the Atlanta airport. Like, there is a cruise going out of this port. It's the sister ship to the one that we're supposed to be on. It goes to a couple different ports. That's fine. We don't really care where we were going. We just wanted to be together. It's a Sunday to Sunday cruise. Like, is there any way, I know it's complicated, but can you transfer us over to that cruise? Like, is there a way to transfer the reservations? They could get on that flight that gets in late. We could all go stay at my house or get a hotel down in Miami. She's looking into it for us. And she was like, no, if you want to get on the cruise tomorrow, you can pay for it. Again, it's going to be $3,000 for the 3 of you, $3,000 plus for the 3 of you. And then maybe the cruise that you're supposed to get on today, you could get some sort of refund. Maybe a refund, and that refund most likely will be credits. So it's like paying double for the cruise if we want to do Sunday. Nobody really felt comfortable doing that, so we're like, okay, any other options? She was like, yeah, if your friends want to get on this cruise, there's one option, and they can fly to Roatan, Honduras, which was the first port that the cruise was docking in. Because their flights are through Delta and that Norwegian had booked them, there was something called a downline that they could have done, but the wait on hold on the phone to do the downline was, I think, close to 6 hours, so we weren't even gonna know. I wasn't gonna know if they were gonna be able to make it until the cruise had already left. I was like, do I get on? Because I don't have flights booked through Norwegian, so I wouldn't have been able to get any kind of refund like they're gonna be able to get. Didn't even seem like anybody really wanted to fly down to Roatan. Mainland Honduras is not the safest, but Roatan, where they'd be flying into and where the cruise stops, like that's a very safe place. I just was so, oh, you guys, it was so stressful. In my head, getting in the car, I was like, my friends are gonna be a little delayed. I'll just be on the ship first. I'm gonna go get a mimosa and I'm gonna get a sandwich and I'm gonna eat it and I'm gonna be happy. I'll sit on the balcony outside, whatever, until they get here. And so at that point, I had only had Nerds gummy clusters, just a little bag of them in my backpack that my dad had given me. So I was snacking on those. Meanwhile, in the morning, I only had like a bowl of Fruity Pebbles and a little bag of popcorn. That was it. I was hungry and stressed and I was like, I don't know. I literally don't know what to do. I'm so mad at myself now. Obviously, hindsight's 2020 that I wasn't like, y'all, come the day before. I mean, never would have known that they were gonna wake up to ice and snow on the ground in Alabama. So that was a lot. And I called my dad and just kind of in a frenzy, I was like, I'm gonna go on the ship. I'm gonna get on because I can't get a refund. Nobody's coming. I don't know these boys that are already on here. I think I met one of them one time at their fraternity date party, but that was about it. And I was like, I'm just gonna make new friends. This is gonna be the week. I'm gonna make new friends. I've been sitting at the port probably for 3 hours at that point. I was like, I need to get on the ship. Sorry, there's a train in Tuscaloosa and it was just going by. Oh, there it is. And it was so funny because as I was sitting outside in between calling Norwegian, having the guy come down and check on me, another person from like their higher ups came down and talked to me. There's a lady sitting on the bench across. She was like, I'm so sorry to eavesdrop. Like I'm hearing your situation and the same thing happened to me 20 years ago. I was like, oh my gosh, no way. And she goes, yes, I got on the cruise ship by myself and you know what? The first night at the bar I met my husband. She's like, we've been married for 18 years. I was like, oh my gosh. I was like, that's so funny. Like, she's like, maybe this is a sign for you too. I was like, I don't know, like we'll see. And as I was getting on, I showed them all the stuff and was checking into my room and they're like, okay, where's Claire and Madeline? I was like, they're not gonna make it. Like, they won't be in the stateroom. They're all stuck in Atlanta and I had to kind of explain to everyone as I went along. I was like, yeah, there were supposed to be 19 of us and only 4 of us have made it. We'll see if anybody makes it down to Roatan. It's kind of like a crazy situation and I just don't know how it's all gonna work out. Needless to say, I got on the ship. I was actually very much so in contact with my ex-boyfriend. It's a very complicated relationship. We're still friends. Like, everything is all good. And I was like, hey, can you send me one of these boys' numbers? I don't know anyone on this ship. I just want to get on and go meet people. And so he's like, okay, yeah, here's this guy's number. His name is Joe. And so I called Joe. I was like, hey, my name's Gracie. Like, I'm the only one who made it on the ship out of everyone else. Like, can I come hang out with you guys? He's like, yeah, we're at the Mojito bar. Like, come meet us. And I was like, great, I need a drink. And so I went there and I met those 3 boys and they were so nice. And we hung out a lot on that first night. They even let me borrow their phone charger because for whatever reason, I brought my iPad charger, which is a USB-C, and not my actual phone charger, which was a lightning cable. So I was mooching off of them for 2 days because on the ship, a phone charger was $68. Yeah, I said, I'm not paying $68 for a phone charger, so if I can use yours, that's great. Then I find out before we set sail that the ex-boyfriend is like, I am coming to Roatan. I said, you're coming to Roatan? I was like, you promise? Because listen, again, we're still really good friends and that is somebody I feel very, very comfortable with. And so I was like, okay, at least it's somebody, because these 3 boys that I just met, I could still make other friends and whatever. I met some really, really nice girls the first night and everything, but I was like, that just makes me feel a lot better about this whole situation. Then I was thinking, I was like, wow, it's me and the boys. You guys know, I'm a girl's girl. So it's like Gracie and the boys for the whole week. I mean, I guess we're gonna see. Oh gosh. I think I had a little bit too much to drink the first night because I never even ate dinner. Ask me how that worked. I literally don't know. I was so stressed about getting the phone charger from those boys because that was sort of later in the day. And my phone had died right after they sent their room number. They're like, we're about to leave the room, but here's the room number if you want to come grab it. And I was like, okay, I'm gonna go. And that's when I was about to go eat dinner. So I checked my watch and luckily I had the room number on my watch. And they're like, you want to go grab a drink? And I'm like, yeah, sure. So that first night was a little crazy, and probably because I was just so stressed out and just so disappointed because we'd been looking forward to this cruise for so long. Not even one of my girlfriends had made it, and I don't know, it sucks. Like, you have this idea in your head of what things are gonna be and it's literally not what it was at all. And the 3 people out of the entire group chat I really didn't know were the ones that made it. So it was just very ironic. So 2 days later, the ex-boyfriend makes it on, all is well in the world, and I hung out with those boys the whole trip. Actually, all things considered, of course, it was pretty fun. Like, we laid by the pool, I watched them gamble at night, we went out to the nice dinners, we did hibachi all together one of the nights, and made amends, I guess, with the ex-boyfriend, which now is complicated. We're not going to talk about that because that is just a part of life that maybe won't be on this channel for a little bit. But long story short, that is how that happened. It was a crazy journey for him to get from Atlanta to Fort Lauderdale. He ended up getting on the later flight to Fort Lauderdale. Stayed the night there, but didn't really sleep because he was waiting for his bags. Waited for 7 flights. His bags never came. Got on a flight the next morning, I think at 6 a.m. to Houston. Had a layover in Houston to Roatan, and was in Honduras for the night. Bags never came. So he got toiletries, a swimsuit, some other stuff, like literally in the Houston airport to try and have something. That was another wild story in and of itself. I was like, yeah, you can borrow face wash, toothpaste, whatever. We shared a bunch of stuff. He borrowed pants from the other boys for some of the dinners. His luggage never ever came to the ship, so he actually got reimbursed, which was pretty nice. But he was living off the same like 3 t-shirts and a couple pairs of shorts that he had. Well, 1 pair of shorts and 2 bathing suits. So the whole thing was just absolutely wild. Not what I expected at all. I think the worst part was knowing that I helped set this up and then I was the only one who made it and nobody else did. And they're still waiting to hear back on refunds. I like immediately went to the desk and was like, hey, these 2 girls are not getting on. Like, can we get them refunds for their short excursions? Can we like get all this stuff done for them? Because I felt so terrible. I was literally on the verge of tears that whole first night. So I was like, I cannot believe this is happening. I cannot believe this is happening. Definitely not what I saw in my head. Never even thought it was a possibility that people weren't going to be making it on. I got like escorted on the ship when I was getting on because I think they knew that I had this whole situation. And so I got these like 2 escorts onto the ship, and they were telling me like 200 people were still missing because I was, I think, one of the last people on the ship. I was waiting till the very last second that I could to make sure that there was no way that my friends were going to be getting on, and I didn't want to mess anything up being in their same room in case something were to happen. I think close to 50 people actually ended up flying into Roatan, but I don't know what that means for the other people. We're still waiting to hear back on like if they get an actual refund or if it's credits or anything like that. Obviously hoping for the best because it was out of literally anyone's control to be able to get down there. So there's my little story time. I hope that you enjoyed. I didn't really vlog or really document much of the cruise. I mean, I did take some pictures and other things like that that I put on my Instagram, but I was off of social media the entire week, and that's not what I thought I would be doing either. But I think I kind of felt sad for my friends, and I kind of felt sad that I would be looking on that Wi-Fi at like other girls with their friends, knowing that I wasn't on my spring break. So I took the whole week off. When I came back and told you guys, you were like, you've got to be kidding me. Like, how did that happen? I'm like, listen, I'm wondering the same thing myself. But all is well, and maybe someday we'll all be able to go on a cruise together again, and this time getting in the night before to make sure that everybody can get on the cruise. Long story short, if you can take one piece of advice from this video, fly in the day before, 2 days before, 3 days before, because it was so important to me for us to all be together for spring break, and it just literally everyone was everywhere else, which was the sad part. But of course, nothing I can do about it now, and honestly was just trying to make the most of it while I was on the cruise and just trying to have fun despite the circumstances and everything. And honestly, it ended up being a pretty great spring break again, all things considered, with how that all worked out. There it is. I'm hoping to have some content coming up next week, having to deal with graduation, post-grad plans. I'm taking my grad pictures on Sunday, so I'm gonna be sort of filming maybe like a little get ready with me, or like show you kind of all my grad gear and whatever. And my little Kayla is coming with me to come take grad pictures, so I'm gonna bring the vlog camera to see if she can get some sort of behind the scenes footage. I love you guys so much. Again, if you're new here, make sure that you subscribe down below so that you don't miss another video or another adventure. I love you guys so much, and I will talk to you soon. Bye!